Hello and welcome to the Success Showcase. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin from the Modern Observer Group. And with me, as always, is Chip Janiszewski from the Happiness and Success GPS. Chip, how you doing this week?
Doing great. How about you, Eric?
Doing fantastic. We've just wrapped up the Thanksgiving holiday and we're heading into the holiday season.
Yeah, one of the funny things about Thanksgiving that was shooting through Facebook was don't forget to turn your scales back 15 pounds for Thanksgiving. I thought that was pretty,
Yes.
but it's always
Yeah,
great.
starting a diet during the holiday season is never a great idea. It's
Yeah, it's like early punishment.
yes. Well, today we're going to be talking about something we touched upon earlier. We said we'd be going more into depth in a future episode, and that's your marketing plan. When we talked about business plans and we talked about different aspects of marketing, we mentioned the marketing plan. And it's a really detailed topic. And like our episode on business structures, we're basically just going to scratch the surface of it, but we hope to give you enough to really get you going and get started on a good marketing plan.
Yeah, marketing plans are so important. I mean, they are a part of the business plan, and that business plans need to have basically industry analysis, your client analysis, target markets, and things like that, and then a business development plan to tie everything together. And that includes a lot of the components of a marketing plan, such as market research and that kind of thing. But where the business plan, it provides the environment um, for your business, for outsiders, and that kind of thing. What your marketing plan does, it really is a way to get everybody in your business involved in a whole lot of different things as far as what you're doing and that kind of thing. So a lot of benefits of it. It's a good rallying point for your employees if you get them all working together. It's a good way to track things and so on and so forth. Plus, it's a document that you just don't do a one and done thing. It's something that you have to put together and really, really monitor it a lot. So a lot of great components to it, and obviously you got to have a good marketing plan. Otherwise, you don't have a good business.
Right. I mean, the big difference between your business plan and your marketing plan is that your business plan puts together the structure of your business. It's the framework for your business. Your marketing plan is how you're going to let people know about your business. That's where you start looking into advertising and marketing in general, public relations, all of these different venues for getting the word out about your business. And one of the aspects, and this is something that in terms of marketing plans, it's actually relatively new. People have started getting into this over the last few years, but it's become a crucial piece. And this is your customer avatar. And for those of you who aren't familiar with this, your customer avatar is the profile of who your customer is. And the fact is, you can't determine how you're going to market to your customer unless you know who it is. Now, the difference between an avatar and your target market is your target market is very general. The avatar gets very specific to the point that most people actually name the profiles. So, where your target market would be, you know, male 25 to 35 making, 60 to $75,000 a year, your avatar is John, who works in an office in Hartford, makes $65,000 a year. He's 32 years old. This is really getting specific. And this is the composite person that you are aiming your marketing plan at. This is the person that's going to buy or your product or service.
Yeah, I actually found a good article online called four easy ways to conduct your marketing research like a pro. And number one, just as you're saying, is creating your buyer personas. And it actually had a diagram there where they take the person and they list down what they think their person's goals and values are, sources of information about them, pain points, objections in purchasing, and so on and so forth. You have to really go through all the pluses and minuses. Um, it also talks about Facebook as far as researching your leads. It talks about spying on your competition, learning from others, but there's a whole lot of information out there online that you can use to do this kind of thing. But what it's really important to do is to start doing something with the customer that you're looking at. Great place to start is, who are your best customers now and why? And on the other hand, think about your customers from hell and what made working with them like that. You're going to start developing some patterns. And you talked about the customer avatar. And one of the keys is you may have different services and whatever. So you may have to create several avatars also for the different.
Yes, absolutely. You need to create an avatar for each product or service. If you have a lot of different ones, you're going to have a lot of different avatars, because every one of your services isn't going to appeal to the same person. So that's a necessary first step, is really understanding who it is you're marketing to. Once you've got that down, you need to go a little broader and see where your customer gets their information from. And again, it's a very important step, because if you're trying to reach 86-year-old women, you're not going to find them on Instagram. If you're trying to reach 22-year-old women, you're not going to find them in the yellow pages. You need to understand where your target market is getting their information. Are they on social media? Are they still using the yellow pages? Do they Google everything? Are they using a desktop machine, or are they mostly on their phones? You have to understand this in order to choose the media that you're going to reach them.
Yeah, and obviously you have to really organize things. So you're going to have your products or services across the top, and you have all these different questions to determine the different things that you were just talking about going down there, and you have to list those things there so that you have everything in front of you, and that will help you manage things a whole lot better once those things are there. But it's so important to go through that, and obviously, we talked about the internet as one way of doing things, interviewing clients and customers or other things, and surveys. There's a whole lot of different techniques to reach out to people, and a lot of people who are consumers out there are going to want to help you. They like that you're asking them, as long as you're doing it in the right way instead of sending out an email to a million people.
Absolutely. Touch base with your customers. Don't just blast out an email. Do it one on one if you can. Make a phone call. Send a personalized email. Touch base with your customers to learn more about them.
Yeah, you can even plan an event where you get a whole bunch of them together in one place with a formatted agenda to help each other out, mostly yourselves. But it's a great way to do that, because the bottom line is if you can get your customers together, they get to network with each other too. So there's a big, big advantage for them outside of just what they get from you.
Right. And they can provide a focus group for you to get those insights into where they're looking for things. So once you know where your customers are getting their information, you need to figure out what to do with those media. If you are a local business, and say a retailer, and you want people to come into your location, a national television spot is not where you want to be. You want to focus your marketing on the people who are going to, in this case, come into your store or restaurant. So if you've got a physical location, you focus on local marketing. So what's local marketing? Well, years ago, local marketing was the yellow pages in your newspaper. Now, neither one of those really draws in a large audience.
Yeah, some of the younger people listening don't even know what those are.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's true. So for local advertising, you have to look for local venues. Now, some of them are very traditional marketing messages, sponsoring a local team, sponsoring high school events, outdoor advertising, depending on your business.
Yeah, and even one old-fashioned way of doing it, if you do it the right way, is just targeted marketing via print, because people still do open the mail. And if you have something interesting that comes in and you have a target market that is going to be interested in that, that tends to be a lot more effective than sending out emails and other things, because you have a lot higher response rate if you do it right.
Direct mail has undergone a resurgence because the idea of junk mail, would come into the house, you wouldn't even look at it, you'd throw it away. Now, people don't get much through the mail. So you're talking about a much more concentrated attention span. And they're actually surprised to see things in the mail sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. Because I mean, if you look at it's morphed from mail into the internet, and it's so much easier and cheaper to do it there that people know when they get mail that whoever's doing that is putting a lot more time and effort into them than it was in the past, because it's more expensive these days and it's so much easier just to do things via email and spam and that kind of thing. So, an effective piece of direct mail does go a long way in a lot of instances. I mean, it's not for everybody, but as far as localized, like you're talking about, it's really, really good. It could be an event, it could be a special coming up. I mean, we just went through Black Friday and today's Cyber Monday. It's There's a lot of different ways that you can do that, and it's just one of the approaches. I mean, when you are doing business planning, part of it is your business development plan, which are the different ways that you can possibly reach clients. So you have to really go down through the whole list: direct mail, email marketing, sales representatives, that kind of thing. I mean, you should have a list of every possible way that you could reach customers. And for every avatar you're creating, just say yay or nay as far as exploring the possibilities of using these things.
Right. And again, most of it is going to be based on where your potential consumers are. If you're running a restaurant or a hotel, you want to be listed on Yelp. You want to advertise on Yelp because that's where people go. If you're doing business to business, Yelp isn't going to do you any good because people aren't looking for business services on Yelp. So you need to go through your choices of media to make sure they match up with the customer avatar that you created. So you're looking at the different media, and we've gone through just a couple of different types. But also included in your marketing plan needs to be what your message is. What is it that you're trying to accomplish in this media? And I mean, the obvious reaction is, well, I want them to buy my product or service. But that's not enough to draw them in. That's your purpose. You need to determine your customer's purpose. What's the problem that you are solving for them? And now you have to figure out how you can communicate that you are solving that problem.
Yeah,
Once you've
as every client, and it goes back to the old saying, the WIIFM, that's the badge that they're wearing. It's what's in it for me. And that's why you really have to put yourselves into their shoes. And again, a great way to do that is to talk to some of those people who are already sold on what you're doing. But it's so important. Those are the questions that you have to answer. It's not based upon what you think is good, it's what it really is. And that's why you have to go through all this research to find out what is working for your good clients. And then the negative avatars we talked about is what is the demographic and what makes up your client from hell, because you want to make sure you stay away from that moving ahead.
exactly. Once you've gotten your message, you have to focus on what it is that you are providing them with. And you need to get experimental, for lack of a better word, with how you do this. You know, once upon a time, the best commercials were 30-second TV spots. They'd have a jingle, some animation, and people would respond. Over time, advertising has changed. You got into telling stories through advertising, showing the situations that your customers are in so they can identify with what they're seeing and go, oh, yes, I have that same issue. If this worked for them, maybe it'll work for me. Now, everything is very quick. You've got 3 seconds to grab their attention. If you're online, it's very difficult to tell a story in 280 characters, which is what you have if you advertise on Twitter. You have to figure out how it is you are going to grab their attention. And that's the biggest key, grabbing the attention. Once you've got their attention, you have to hold it. But holding it is actually easier than grabbing it is. That's why now, if you look through Facebook, if you look through Instagram, if you look through a lot of online publications, the advertising is disguised. It looks like the rest of the posts in your Facebook feed. It looks like the rest of your Instagram feed. For publications, it's content. And it looks like another article in the publication. You need to figure out how to grab attention and how not to get blocked. And that is the hardest part of your marketing plan, is figuring that out.
Yeah, and as you said, the internet, the social media sites like Facebook and Instagram, and even your own website can be a great way to get people interested in things, gather information, and that kind of thing. But you have to make it engaging so that they click something to see what's going on. And as you said, once they do that, the chances of something happening afterwards is so much more. But using your website or your Facebook page to get information that way in a very, very friendly way, maybe encouraging people to do that with maybe an incentive or something, is a really, really great way to do that. And it's a great way to brainstorm with your fellow employees, because a lot of people have a lot of ideas, and the internet is, so complicated and yet so simple that the more you work on that side of things, because that's the number one place people go these days, um, the better that can be for you.
Absolutely. You need to reach out using these media. And the biggest mistake that business owners make when they're putting together their plan is to mistake an advertisement for marketing. A single ad is not marketing. In fact, A single ad is a waste of money because nobody responds to one ad. On average, you need 7 touch points before they'll respond to you. So they need to see your name come up in their Facebook feed and get an email from you and see a flyer from you. And each of those needs to happen a few times before they're going to go, well, wait a minute, let me look into this. Let me see what this is about. So taking out one ad is not marketing. And your plan has to be about how you are going to market, and it has to be realistic. And your marketing plan should cover a good amount of time. Most plans focus on a year. And each year you change up your marketing based on what you learned the previous year. Now, there are certain things, depending on your business, that you can look into that will work great for some businesses, not so well for others. If you're a B2B business, advertising on social media, giving away a white paper, a report, some sort of information is a great way to grab people to come in. If you're a consumer product and you're looking for a way to get people to try you for the first time, you have coupons, which still work. But you have to understand the limitations of each form of marketing. Both giving away the report and giving away a coupon is you are providing something for free. There is a large percentage of your audience that will gladly take advantage of a free offer, but then they will never come back because they are looking for that free. So why should you do something like this? Well, the idea is to get them in so that you can target them more. If you're running a special at a restaurant or a retail store, you want them to come in so that you can see them and get them to sign up for an email newsletter. Get them to sign up for future offers. Then you've got their name, address, phone number, email address, whatever it is you're collecting, and you have the ability now to target that person.
Yeah, and that's where you need to have this whole marketing plan done ahead of time, because you have to have all the logical next steps laid out for when you do draw them in, because that, as you said, that is the key. Once you have them in the system, then they have to opt out, or they're going to be exposed to everything that you're going to send to them in the future. And as long as you can keep it interesting and get response from people, you have to have that planned out ahead of time to make sure that that's going to work, so you can keep them in the system and eventually get something out of them for that freebie that you gave them up front.
Right. The marketing plan now is also referred to as a sales funnel. The idea is your first advertisements, your first piece of marketing is to grab the biggest number of your target market that you can. And then you funnel them down to the next step. And that takes this big group and says, okay, well, 80% of these people aren't really interested in buying. So who are those 20%? Those are the people that follow up, that'll come in, that'll do something. From there, you need to keep them interested. And again, remember, you're going to need at least 7 touch points before they make a decision. So by planning out this funnel, you take them from a huge group of prospects to a targeted number of people that are going to buy. And better still, if you've got your marketing done well, these people will actually help you market because they will refer their friends to you, their colleagues to you. So your customer is actually part of your marketing plan. So when you put all of these aspects together, you're putting together a strategic plan to communicate with potential customers and ultimately convert them into actual customers through advertising, through public relations, through online marketing, through offline marketing.
Yep, through events and things like that too. The more you think outside the box to get people together with you on this, the better off you're going to be too. Because the bottom line is, if you have a lot of your clients getting together, in the same social forum or together for an event, if you're doing local things and whatever, then you get a big buzz going about you because you put this whole thing together. So it's, networking always works, and it's all about relationships. And if you can get a whole lot of your people together, whether they're clients or people who are looking out for your best interests, that's a great way to do this. Teamwork is a really, really huge part of putting together a marketing plan, because you need a lot of minds to do it rather than just the way you think, even if you're just a solopreneur.
Right. You need to be able to think outside the box and get ideas from other people. And sometimes it doesn't feel like marketing. An example of this is I know a number of women's boutique stores, and they have had fantastic results by having wine events. And they will have somebody come in and they'll do a wine tasting, and they're doing it in their store. So the people are in there for the wine tasting, and they're showcasing their upscale merchandise, and it gets people to come in. And that in turn allows them to showcase their merchandise and reach their target market. So you really do have to think outside the box. What is it that's going to attract the attention of my potential customer?
Yeah, again, a really good way to take a look at that without doing a whole lot of work yourself is to analyze what your competition is doing. Go online. If you're a local business, go out and see what the folks in California are doing. And you can get some ideas that way. But it's really, really important, again, to quantify the results that you're getting from every different thing that you're looking at, because it is totally different from everybody.
And also work with other businesses. You're not in this alone. If you're running a gym, partner with a health food store. If you're running an art studio, partner with a local liquor store or winery. Think about what else your target market is doing and work with businesses that don't compete with you but complement your services with theirs. And this way you're creating a customer experience. And that is the ultimate goal of your plan. It's not just to bombard them with a message, it's to create an image for your business. Whether that's, we've got everything you need at low, low prices like Walmart, or a very upscale, very elegant image, very professional, whatever it is, this is how you create it. Your plan is all of the details for creating that image that's going to you're presenting to customers and the experience that they are going to receive. And something that a lot of people don't really latch onto is that when you're creating this customer experience, you need to consider other senses. What are they seeing? of your business? What are they hearing from your business? When they come in, what do they smell? What do they hear? Is there music playing? Everything you're doing is part of your marketing plan because it's all based on creating that image. So we're just about out of our time here. So Chip, what do you think is the big takeaway for this week?
Well, obviously, you need to do this all in writing, but you need a avatar for every type of customer that you are looking to serve. And we talked about starting with what your message is, what's in it for the person, how are you easing their pain. You have to really do a whole lot of homework on that to quantify what you're doing, how you're doing it, delivery methods, and so on and so forth. Quantify the results that you're getting from every little thing, and make sure that it's a team effort that you're doing. Because the more people that you get involved, the more input you're going to get from people who really care about things, and you're going to have a much more engaged either employee force or network or whoever you're working with. But the bottom line is, it's not really a simple thing, but if you can put it down on paper, there's a whole lot of resources out there online that can show you how to do that. But regardless, you got to do it if you want to have a good business.
Absolutely. I think for me, the big takeaway is that you have to remember that everything a potential customer hears and sees about you is part of the image you're creating. So when you're putting together your plan, consider all of your advertising, all of your public relations work, but also consider, do people come to your place of business? What do they see when they get to your place of business? What do they hear? What's the overall experience? Because that is a big key to bringing them back. So create that overall customer experience and let people know about it. You've been listening to the Success Showcase. You can catch us every week at xvadio.com/podcasts. You can also find us on the iTunes Store, the Apple Podcasts app, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and wherever you find podcasts. Remember, make this your best week ever and make next week even better. See you then.